Hello, if you're watching this video, you probably are interested in Babylon the Great and maybe some of my predictions about why Babylon will someday be destroyed. It turns out that America fits the characteristics of Babylon the Great. For explanation of why I believe that America fits the characteristics of Babylon the Great, please go to the earlier video that I made on YouTube that was posted on September 4th. In that earlier video, I also talked about Elul 23rd and why Elul 23rd is actually a very significant date in terms of biblical prophecy. Well, Elul 23rd is the Hebrew date, and the Gentile conversion would be September 7th. Now, let me introduce myself. I go by the pseudonym Michael Ross. You can also call me Babylon Man. I like that title because I study so much about Babylon. Well, we're offering a book and a video, and that's called Babylon the Great Day of Destruction, still itself in the process of being created. And also in the process of being created is a website entitled BabylonAmerica.com. That's one word, BabylonAmerica.com. Well, it turns out that Elul 23rd was an important day, so I was right about that. I was wrong that it ushered in the Day of Destruction, obviously. And so thankfully there's still a lot more time, hopefully, to prepare. But I have a question for you. If you're watching this video and keep asking yourself, is America Babylon? Is America not Babylon? Should I leave America? Should I not leave America? I have a question for you. Why do you keep asking the question? Just leave. I'm here in the Philippines, and I'm enjoying nice weather, and I'm not worried about any bombs dropping on my head. That's a good thing. At any rate, why is all this important? It's important because Elul 23rd was a critical day. It's important because 1/3 of the earth will someday be destroyed. And so the question is, why was 1/3 of the world being destroyed somehow associated with this Elul 23rd? Well, I discovered that Elul 23rd was an important date, that it would be an important date. I was concerned about it for over a year, discovered it in the middle of 2014. But thankfully, Elul 23rd was not the day of destruction. But it was something important, although people didn't notice. But I noticed. After all, I am Babylon Man, so I had to notice. Well, turns out Babylon Man has a little bit of a mathematical background. I'm going to give you a mathematical lesson for about 30 seconds, so try to stay with me. Let's take a look at an inflection point. Oh boy, I know you love that. Okay, well here's an inflection point. This is where two curves meet. This curve is curving upward, and this curve is curving downward even though it continues to go up. This is curving upward, continually upward. This one's curving down, continually down. They meet here at what's called the inflection point. Why am I talking about inflection points? Well, it turns out that an inflection point is a point where nothing happens. But it's a point of joining. And it's a point of demarcation. If you were a little person walking along this curve, as you walk past the inflection point, you would assume nothing happened. But a lot did happen. This curve turned into that curve. It's a point of demarcation. Well, September the 7th was a point of demarcation, and the reason why I say that is something very important happened on or around the date of September the 7th, or Elul 23rd of the year 2015. What happened was that before September the 7th, there was very little talk about any Russian involvement in Syria. After September the 7th, article after article, sometimes several a day, talking about Russia militarizing Syria. The Russians are building up serious assets in Syria and in Ukraine. Putin is using Ukraine, I believe, as a forwarding base for Syria. And that brings us to a little map that I made, so I hope you enjoy the map. In this map, we will show that this is Russia, and this is Ukraine, and this is Turkey, and this is Syria, and this is Iraq, and this is Iran, and here's good old little Israel with Jerusalem right around there. Well, it turns out that Russia is very big. It's very big. 3 times, in fact, bigger than the United States. Putin has a problem. He's got military assets all through Russia. Well, how is he going to get those military assets quickly into Syria without anyone noticing? Pretty hard, isn't it? But if he has bases in Ukraine, and if he has bases in Syria, and if he can move his military assets quickly from his bases in Ukraine into Syria, then he makes his process of invasion much easier. So it turns out that Ukraine is being used as a forwarding base, most probably for Syria. He's increasing his bases as we speak in Ukraine. He's increasing his bases as we speak in Syria. He has military equipment in Syria. He has military equipment in and around the vicinity of Ukraine. A coincidence? I think not. I think he has big plans for the Middle East. I think he has big plans to take over the Saudi oil fields. I think he has big plans to invade Israel. Why is this important? Well, in the Bible, in Ezekiel chapter 38, it talks about the Gog-Magog invasion. And Gog and Magog is a reference, most people think, to Russia and to some of the surrounding nations of Russia. Okay? Well, what are some of the signs of the day of destruction that's going to probably be triggered by this Gog-Magog invasion? One of the signs is that America has already had its 70 years of hegemony. America has already had 70 good years after World War II, in which it was the #1 nation. Turns out that ancient Babylon, the Babylon of Nebuchadnezzar, also was assigned 70 years, as talked about by the prophet Jeremiah. Well, so we got Russia militarizing Syria. We got Russia heavily involved militarily in the Middle East and politically. We got America not stopping Putin, much the same way as the original Babylon did not stop even to put any serious attempt at stopping Cyrus. Well, Putin's no fool, and he's catching America off guard. He's using the excuse of fighting Islamic State as a pretext, I believe, for an invasion of the Middle East. How soon could all this happen? First of all, it's the 70th anniversary, as we said, of America's hegemony in the world. Second of all, there are signs it could happen very, very, very soon. Right now, September the 27th here in the Philippines, and I'm sitting here in a nice park area. Well, it turns out that on September 28th of 2015, there will be the last and final of the blood moons, the lunar eclipses that Mark Biltz talks about. It turns out that these blood moons were occurring in 2014 and 2015. There were 4 of them. And this holy tetrad of blood moons is the last one. It's going to happen for the next 100 years. The last one. And these blood moons have been correlated pretty strongly with important events that have affected the Jewish people. Not only is that interesting, but September 28th is the first day of the Feast of Tabernacles, in which the Jews celebrate what we Christians call the second coming of Christ. Also, by some calculations, we're already living in a Jubilee year. We're living in the month of Tishri according to the Jewish calendar. This happens every 49 years. Approximately 49 years ago, the Jews entered Jerusalem. So how about this year? Well, it turns out that September 28th is a Feast of Tabernacles. It turns out that October 539 BC is when Babylon fell. There's a lot of things happening. I would ask you to get out of America. I would ask you to pray about it. I would ask you to go to BabylonAmerica.com. That will be set up in November of this year. And I would ask you just to stay informed, stay serious about the end times, and may God be with all of us. Thank you for watching this video.